Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, my dear students of Honors Platform, how you folks are doing? In our last class, I discussed Emily Dickinson's Statement of Nature, Part 1, and in our today's class, I will discuss Emily Dickinson's Statement of Nature, Part 2, and you have seen that Emily Dickinson's Statement of Nature is excellently orchestrated, thoughtfully planned, and very much thought provoking for new readings. And my dear students, let us begin with seeing the contrast between the world of man and that of nature in Emily Dickinson's poetry. In her best nature poems, Miss Dickinson skillfully deepens her concrete detail and sensuous surface imagery by contrasting the world of man with that of nature. For example, the poem A Bird Came Down the Wick can be read literally as an exact description of the quick, furtive movements of a bird as it eats, hops about, and then flies gracefully away. By the final stanza, the tone develops into one of awe and aesthetic response to the bird's beautiful flight, yet various undercurrents of fear demand that we read deeper into the poem, for the bird's initial casualness changes into hesitancy and suspicion. Man's spying and his useless offer of a crumb lead to the bird's final rejection and illuminate another's theme: nature's superior self-sufficiency over man's fumbling awkwardness. And now, my dear students, let us see the grotesque aspects of nature in Emily Dickinson poetry. One group of Miss Dickinson's nature poems deal with the neglected and grotesque aspects of nature. The rat, the mushroom, the fly, the bat, the snake, the weeds, the frog, the stones, the spider, and the caterpillar. Although romantic writers avoided these aspects of nature and earnest moralists ignored their existence, Miss Dickinson makes them live before us. The lighter, humorous side of nature's offshoots is depicted. The lighter, humorous side of nature's offshoots is depicted in the poem. The mushroom is the elf of plants, making use of fairy associations connected with elves. She whimsically explores the illusory, transitory qualities that underlie nature's surface. In the rat is the concisest tenant. An odd creature mocks man's complacent trust in law and social patterns. Miss Dickinson here manages to win our approval and admiration for this repulsive rodent. The poem, A Narrow Fellow in the Grass, contains a disturbing investigation of nature's mystery. Here, Miss Dickinson examines the terror and awe that the presence of a snake can give rise to. The snake in the poem develops into a symbol of the unknown. A sense of hidden terror behind nature's surface beauty fascinates and frightens the audience. Another poem dealing with the bat is perhaps Miss Dickinson's finest treatment of nature's misfits or mismatch. Though the poem never achieves the frightening intensity of the verses about the snake, it raises some perplexing questions concerning the purpose behind creation and man's limitations in comprehending the divine plan. The earliest stages imaginatively catalog the bat's form, color, and activities, emphasizing its grotesque qualities. The poem ends ambiguously. The bat may or may not be beneficent, but the writer does not express a full confidence in God's divine plan. And let us now see the cycle of seasons in Emily Dickinson's nature poetry. The seasonal cycle had also a great appeal for Miss Dickinson. The miracle of the barren winter, containing the seeds of fruitful summer, and the rich crops foretelling the death of harvest, never ceased to fascinate her. But she realized that no one could fully understand nature's processes, and so she restrained her enthusiastic response to the change of seasons with undertones of the mystery. Spring was, of course, the favored season, since it displayed the wonder of rebirth and openly promised the warm beauty of summer. The poem New Feet Within My Garden Go thoughtfully considers the whole cycle of the seasons. The opening stanza here expresses the poetess' wonder at the first stirrings of plant life and the initial song of a bird. In the second stanza, her pleasure diminishes as she contrasts the new children playing upon the green with the new dead sleeping in their graves. Finally, her joyous response to spring is muted by the knowledge that it is only a part of a complete cycle that punctually arrives and leads again to winter. Since the relentless seasonal change forbids permanent growth or lasting beauty, spring's hope is deceptive and brings pensiveness. The poem Light Exists in Spring is perhaps her best analysis of the peculiar awe that this season inspires. In this poem, the physical experience of an early spring day is transformed into a moment of religious illumination. Miss Dickinson's only memorable poem on summer deals with the sense of loss that summer's departure brings. As imperceptibly as grief, the summer lapsed away. This season of winter never had much appeal for Miss Dickinson, even though she wrote two imaginative descriptions of a winter snowstorm. It shifts from leaden shifts and like brooms of steel. Only one of her better poems uses the framework of winter to explore the despair that the season often brings. This poem is there's a certain slant of light. And now let us see that Emily Dickinson's treatment of nature is neither easy religious affirmation nor excessive romantic enthusiasm. Miss Dickinson constantly examined man's relation to the world of natural phenomena. She did not resort to any easy religious affirmation or indulge in excessive romantic enthusiasm. She looked closely at natural objects, contemplated their functions, and recorded her responses with scrupulous exactness. This is amply illustrated by the poem of Bronze and Blaze, which considers the grandeur of the northern lights. The poem How Happy is the Little Stone, dealing with the simplicity of a stone, and the poem Further in Summer Than the Birds, which deals with the song of the crickets. These poems clearly illustrate the slow artistic melting of material images into provocative thought. And now let me tell you the conclusion of this wonderful of Emily Dickinson's treatment of nature by saying that all Miss Dickinson's best nature poems continually challenge and invite new readings, and will therefore continue to fascinate as long as there are sensitive and keen readers of poetry. Her unique approach to the eternal beauty of nature, the power of storms, the strangeness of creation, the fleeting aspects of the material, and the mystery of the seasonal process fully demonstrate that even the most neglected and hackneyed subjects can be revitalized by a super genius like Emily Dickinson. And with these few words, my dear students, I would like to wrap up my discussion for today. Thank you very much for patient hearing.